Homer's tongue suddenly swelled up, and his body broke out in a rash. It turned out Homer was allergic to the palm oil on the furniture. Homer had to stay with his dad for a while. Seeing how nice his dad was to his stepson Calvin, Homer grew jealous, so Homer broke Calvin's toe, making Calvin furious. They got into a fight, ending with Homer's defeat. From then on, the war between Calvin and Homer began. While Homer was bathing, Calvin scared him with a tow crocodile. Later, when Calvin was riding his bike, he discovered the handlebars were broken and fell to the ground. Then, when Homer was driving to work, the steering wheel bolts came loose, causing the car to lose control and crash into a tree. While Calvin was sleeping, Homer deliberately dipped his hand into cold water. While Homer slept, Calvin glued antlers onto his head. Upon waking, Homer ran around the room until he tripped and fell. That day, Homer wore Calvin's hat at home, mimicking Calvin's way of speaking. Glaucoma eye drops made Dad mistake Homer for Calvin. Dad praised Calvin tenderly, his eyes filled with affection. Homer felt utterly dejected upon hearing this. Seeing Homer's low spirits, Calvin stopped his war with him. Homer said his dad was very kind to Calvin but hated him. Calvin, however, believed Dad didn't hate Homer. Then Homer dressed Calvin up to look just like him, and hid behind the chair. When Dad saw the fake Homer, he launched into a scolding. Only then did Calvin realize Dad was genuinely harsh with Homer. He suggested Homer communicate differently with Dad, expressing his true feelings. So Homer made an animal taxidermy specimen to convey his emotions, but Dad dismissed it outright. Others, however, recognized the specimen was vividly crafted and carried a hint of sadness. Persuaded by others, Dad re-examined the specimen and recognized his son's longing for his approval. Only then did Dad realize he'd been too harsh on Homer. In truth, Dad never disliked Homer. He just stubbornly believed boys needed some setbacks to grow up. Dad then sincerely apologized to Homer, who forgave him.